What if I told you in just 10 years the average home in Toronto could cost $2 million? And that's not a wild guess, that's not some realtor trying to scare you. That's straight from CMHC, Canada's National Housing Agency. They're projecting by 2035, the average Toronto home price could soar to about $1,947,000, which is, if we round it up, it's basically $2 million bucks. So the question is, how is that even possible? Prices are soft right now, buyers are negotiating, and affordability is a disaster. And yet the CMHC says that in a decade, we'll be talking about $2 million homes being the average. Let's break down why. By the end of this video, we'll see if their math actually makes sense or not. But before that, make sure to subscribe to my channel to get in the know before anyone else. Knowledge is power. In the first section, I'm going to tell you why Toronto is a pressure cooker. It's like a pressure cooker. Here's the thing, Toronto is growing, and I don't just mean a little. According to CMHC's projections, the Toronto region is going to jump from 7.4 million people today to 8.4 million people by 2035. That's another 1 million people. Think of it as adding a city the size of Calgary to the GTA. And what do a million more people need? Of course, homes. Now, here's the kicker. CMHC says that Toronto builds around 44,000 homes a year, but to even restore some sense of affordability, we would need to crank that up to over 75,000 per year. That's almost double. Do you see the gap already? 44,000 and 75,000. So that means more people and not nearly enough homes. That's pressure, and pressure makes prices rise. Now let's talk about affordability. Today in Toronto, the average household spends 74% of its gross income on housing costs. Let that sink in. 3/4 of the income just to carry a home. CMHC says their aspiration is to get that number down to where it was in 2019, which was still about 59%. So do you notice something? Even their good scenario is still totally unaffordable. What that tells you is simple. The affordability crisis is baked into the system already. Toronto's not going back to the days when you could buy a detached house on one salary. The best case scenario is slightly less bad. And then affordability doesn't improve, but demand keeps climbing. Prices keep marching higher. Now let's talk about the supply. So why can't we just build our way out of this? Well, CMHC breaks it down. Approvals take years, and skilled construction workers are in short supply right now. Costs are high, and if we wanted to double housing starts overnight, we simply don't have the capacity. Toronto would need tens of thousands of extra units every year, but the system is set up for red tape, not speed. CMHC even models it. Under business as usual, Toronto will add about 500,000 new homes by 2035, but demand will still go past that number. And when demand outpaces supply, you guessed it, the prices are gonna rise. Now let's talk about the $2 million forecast. Let's get to the jaw-dropping number. CMHC's modeling shows that if nothing changes, the average Toronto home will climb from about $1.1 million today to $1.94 million by 2035, which is roughly, if we round it up, is $2 million. That's over 65% increase in just 10 years. Think about that. A house you could buy today for $1.1 million, which already feels insane, could cost you an extra $800,000 more than that in a decade. And that's not a luxury property, that's the average. And remember, this is their conservative baseline. This isn't hot market scenario. This is just the math of population growth, economic growth, and limited supply. And remember, this is their conservative baseline. This isn't the hot market scenario. This is just the math of population growth, economic growth, and limited supply. So what does this mean for you? If you're a buyer waiting for prices to collapse long term, might not be that realistic. Yes, markets have ups and downs, but over the next decade, the structural forces are pointing one way, which is higher. If you're a seller, this explains why your property holds long-term value. Even if the prices dip in the short run, the fundamentals are still stacked in your favor. And if you're a policymaker, well, CMHC is basically waving a giant red flag saying if you don't double housing starts, affordability will stay broken and prices will keep rising. So will Toronto's average home price really hit $2 million in a decade or not. If population keeps growing, if supplies keeps lagging, and affordability goals remain this loose, then yes, the numbers make sense. CMHC isn't predicting a boom, they're predicting the slow grind of economics. More people, not enough homes means higher prices. So the real question isn't whether Toronto homes will hit $2 million. The question is that, what are we going to do about it? Because if nothing changes, the future is already written.